FCRA 2026, The Hidden Truth of Foreign Funding. In a small village stands an NGO building. On the board outside it reads, "Free school, free medicine and relief work." But one morning, news arrives that its foreign funding license is in danger. People ask, if the work was for the poor, then what is there to fear? And if the money was a foreign donation, why is the government being so strict? This is where the story of FCRA begins. This is not just the story of an NGO's file, bank account or audit report. It is the story of that invisible money trail that enters India across borders. The biggest question is whether foreign donation is help or a path to influence. And the truth is that many times, the line between the two becomes very thin. FCRA stands for Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. In simple terms, this law determines who can receive foreign donations in India, for what purpose they can receive them, and how they will account for that money. This law does not impose a total ban on foreign funding. Its main job is to keep foreign money in a regulated channel so that its source, route, and final use remain traceable. FCRA is managed by the Ministry of Home Affairs. This means it is not considered merely a matter of charity, but also a matter of internal security and national interest. Because money is not just money. When money comes from a country, an institution, a donor network, or a foreign source, it can bring along a purpose, a priority, and sometimes even pressure. The idea of regulating foreign funding in India is not new. First, there was the 1976 law, then the new FCRA came in 2010, and later the 2020 amendments made the rules even tighter. The government's logic is simple. If foreign money helps in education, health, disaster relief, or social work, it is useful. However, if that same money enters politics, public order, or policy influence, the risk begins. Now place an NGO in this picture. It received money from a foreign donor, but which project that money went into, which district it reached, which contractor it went to, and who the final beneficiary was, all of this must be clear. If this trail breaks, suspicion rises, and FCRA becomes the legal mechanism to stop this broken trail. Therefore, certain categories are not permitted to receive foreign contributions. Election candidates, political parties, MPs, MLAs, judges, government servants, and organizations of a political nature are kept away from foreign funds. The thinking behind this is that decision-making in a democracy should remain separate from foreign financial influence. Votes, policies, and public opinion should be formed by domestic will, not donor pressure. Now the question arises, how does an NGO receive foreign funds? It either needs FCRA registration or has to take prior permission for a specific project. Registration is not automatic for everyone. The organization has to demonstrate its objective, work, track record, and compliance. Only when the government is satisfied does the path to receiving foreign contributions open. Foreign funds cannot come directly into any random account. After 2020, foreign contributions first arrive in a designated FCRA account at the New Delhi main branch of the State Bank of India. From there, the organization can move the money into its utilization accounts according to its needs. This system exists so that the primary entry point remains centralized and monitorable. FCRA registration is valid for 5 years. After that, renewal is necessary. This means permission to receive foreign funds works not as a permanent pass, but as a time-bound license. Every year, the NGO must file a return through Form FC4. Details of the donor, amount, purpose, expenditure, and balance must be provided in it. There is also a cap on administrative expenses. A maximum of only 20% of foreign contributions can go toward administrative expenses. The rest of the money must be spent on the purpose for which the donation was received. However, the story does not end here. In 2026, the proposed FCRA Amendment Bill intensified the debate even further, because now it is not just about money coming in, but about the future of the assets created. According to PRS, the Foreign Contribution Regulation Amendment Bill 2026 was introduced in the Lok Sabha on March 25, 2026, and its major focus is on organizations whose FCRA certificate is cancelled, surrendered, or ceases to exist. The new twist is the designated authority. In such cases, this authority can oversee the supervision, management, and disposal of foreign contributions and the assets created from them. This means that if an NGO's FCRA registration is cancelled, surrendered, or not renewed, the assets created from foreign funds will not automatically remain in their old status. According to the bill, assets may first vest provisionally. If the organization gets its registration restored within the prescribed time, the unused funds and assets can be returned. However, if the registration is not restored, that same vesting can become permanent. The assets can then be transferred to the relevant government department for public purposes. If the asset is a place of worship, the framework also includes provision to preserve its religious character. That means the power to convert it into any other identity has not been stated. The government maintains that this is not seizure, but a framework for custody and accountability. APIB backgrounder stated that upon restoration, assets and unused funds will be returned. However, the NGO's fear is different. They state that if the authority gains control over properties built with foreign funds, then schools, hospitals, welfare centers and research institutions could enter a state of uncertainty. Imagine a hospital building constructed using both foreign donations and Indian donations. If the registration goes into a dispute, how those mixed assets will be treated creates anxiety. The bill also speaks of provisions for appeal and revision. According to PIB, a path for revision of the designated authority's orders and judicial appeal before a district judge has been provided. Another surprising change is in the penalty. In the proposed framework, the maximum imprisonment is said to be reduced from 5 years to 1 year. At first glance, this looks like a softening. However, along with this, compliance and asset oversight are becoming stronger, so the debate is less about the reduction in punishment and more about the increase in control. In the new rules, there is mention of stating the exact purpose and the states or UTs of operation on the registration certificate. That means writing broad social work will no longer be enough. A requirement to demonstrate foreign contribution utilization of at least 10 lakh rupees over the past 2 years for renewal has also been indicated. Small organizations might find this specific point difficult. Annual reporting could also become more detailed. Information such as project-wise expenditure, activity-wise details, website, social media and ultimate donor disclosure will be necessary. Ultimate donor means who the real source behind the money chain is. Many times, money comes from a foundation, the foundation receives it from someone else, and the trail becomes layered. The government considers this very layering a risk. It states that every rupee of foreign funds must be traceable from the source to its final use. In 2025, around 16,200 registered associations received approximately 22,963 crore rupees in foreign contributions, and the government considers this evidence that FCRA is a disclosure regime, not a prohibition. On the other hand, civil society groups say that while the number is large, the compliance burden is also heavy. Large institutions can hire lawyers and accountants, but small grassroots groups cannot. This is the real tension. On one side, national security and transparency, on the other side, the flexibility and independence of social work. Look at a small organization working in a tribal belt. It has no accountant, just 2 field workers, an old laptop, and a few community volunteers. If reporting becomes more complex, their time can shift away from the field and into paperwork. And if a mistake happens in the paperwork, their funding could be put at risk. However, it is also necessary to understand the government's counter-argument. If foreign money operates without strong reporting, the risk of misuse, diversion and policy influence can increase. Foreign funding can build a school, run a hospital and deliver disaster relief. But if that same channel is used for a hidden agenda, the damage will also be silent. That is why the debate over FCRA is not black and white. It is not a simple story of good NGOs versus a bad government, nor is it a straight fight of foreign money versus nationalism. This debate is about that balance where India does not refuse to accept help, but does not want to accept influence in the name of help. The Supreme Court had stated in the 2022 Noel Harper case that receiving foreign contributions is not a fundamental right, and the state can create a regulatory framework. The court had upheld the 2020 amendments. This gave legal backing to the government that foreign funding can be regulated through the lens of sovereignty, public order and national interest. However, court approval does not mean that every future rule will automatically be free of controversy. Every new provision will enter the debate based on its practical impact. Opposition MPs raised concerns regarding executive power and the impact on civil society at the time of the bill's introduction, while the government spoke of transparency and preventing misuse. This is where the major turning point of the documentary arrives. The 2026 debate is not just about receiving foreign donations, but about the destiny of the assets created from those donations. Earlier the question was who will take the money? Now the question is, what will happen to the building, school, hospital, vehicle or equipment built with that money if the license ends? In other words, FCRA has now moved beyond bank accounts and reached land, property and the continuity of institutions. And for this reason the debate has become so sensitive. The government says that if an asset was created from foreign contributions, it should not go into private gain or illegal control. It should be utilized for public purposes. NGOs say that if the process becomes harsh, even genuine institutions will operate in fear. Donors will also hesitate, and grassroots services could be affected. The truth perhaps lies in the middle. Without transparency, foreign money can be dangerous, but without trust, civil society can become weak. The real challenge of FCRA is precisely this: not to punish honest organizations and not to leave dishonest routes open. This law forces us to ask an uncomfortable question: is charity merely compassion, or can it sometimes also become a soft instrument of geopolitics? And the second question is equally important: is every foreign-funded organization suspicious, or does that same organization often reach the places where the government system arrives late? In a large country like India, the role of NGOs in health, education, disability support, disaster relief and community development is real. Therefore, regulation should be such that it brings accountability, not paralysis. In the coming times, NGOs will have to increase their paperwork discipline. Donors will have to provide source clarity, and the government will have to show fairness in enforcement. Because if the rule is predictable, honest organizations will adapt. But if uncertainty is high, fear will become bigger than field work. The story of FCRA 2026 tells us that foreign funding is not merely a financial issue, it is the intersection of sovereignty, democracy, religion, property, welfare and rights. That is why a debate on this bill is necessary. The question is not whether there should be strictness or not. The question is whether the strictness is transparent, fair and proportionate. A child in a village school probably does not know the full form of FCRA. He only knows whether his class is running or has been shut down. A patient does not know whether the hospital equipment came from a foreign donation or a domestic fund. She just needs treatment. And the government has to ensure that no hidden influence enters the system in the name of these needs. This is the difficult balance between security and service. The final lesson of FCRA is that when foreign money arrives in India, it does not arrive merely as a donation. It brings along responsibility, suspicion, hope and compliance, all four together. What will change with the new rules will become clear in the coming months and courtrooms. But this much is certain: foreign-funded NGOs will now have to show not just good work but clear accounts as well. And perhaps this is the most powerful point of this entire story. In today's era, even help will have to be transparent and power accountable. Because when money crosses a border, the question is not just who gave it. The real question is, what future did it try to shape?
If this video has taught you something new, or if you feel this information should reach more people, don't forget to like and share the video. Your small share can become valuable and useful information for someone else. If you have any questions related to this topic, or if you would like to share your opinion with us, be sure to write in the comment box. We read every question and suggestion from you, because your feedback inspires us to create better content. And if you want to keep receiving such interesting and reliable information about business, the economy, and the world in the future, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel GRT Business and also press the bell icon so that you get notifications of every new video directly. At GRT Business, we always strive to provide you with accurate, balanced, and reliable information. Our news and analysis are prepared based on information obtained from various news agencies, public sources, and public opinion. We make every effort to verify and validate each fact as much as possible, but in case of any possible error or dispute, the responsibility lies with the respective sources. Our only aim is to present you with a correct and trustworthy perspective so that you can understand any topic better.